So what I want to talk about is some of the most common concerns that women and men for that matter have about having sex again after a long time. Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Once again, I'm so happy to welcome back Laurie Gerber, the dating coach, relationship expert, love expert. You have been in this business a long time, coaching people of our vintage, finding love in midlife and after 50. Laurie, thank you so much for being here again.
Great to be here.
We have a great topic today that I'm really looking forward to discussing with you because you're so spunky. One of the big things about falling in love again, finding love again, is ultimately getting intimate again, having sex again. And for many of us, after a long time, and things aren't quite the same anymore. So, what I want to talk about with you is some of the most common concerns that you hear that women and men for that matter have about having sex again after a long time.
I think one of the main reasons people are afraid to get into dating altogether is because they know sex is coming. And if they are not confident about performance, how their body looks and feels, and everything surrounding sexual health and all of the things that surround getting into an intimate relationship with someone, it stops them before they even start to flirt or date and robs them of the whole entire experience. So when I'm prepping my people to get into the dating pool, we have to talk about sex. We have to talk about it at the beginning, not just, what's your type and how are you going to flirt and what kind of questions are you going to ask, but also let's prepare you for the bedroom because it's coming if you find your person. If you were just looking for friends, we wouldn't have to talk about it, but you have enough friends, we're looking for your partner.
The first one, just the most logical one, is how soon is too soon to have sex? This comes up all the time, especially for women.
As you gave me a wonderful introduction, but I did dozens and dozens of webinars for Match about sex and dating because what people are, and that was one of the number one questions. How soon is too soon? And the answer is obviously it depends on what you're looking for and who you are. But my big recommendation for folks is that if you're looking for long-lasting, long-term commitment, you wait to have sex until you are committed, until you have agreed that you're going to be monogamous with one another. I don't think that has to take a really long time necessarily. In fact, I tell somebody if they're not headed towards actually seeing if something is going to work by the third date should be their last date. So by the third date, you could start to have a conversation of, do we think we want to really see if we're something or not? Obviously, if you have moral or ethical or religious reasons to wait, you're going to wait because that's your value system. But if you're just looking for your long-term companion, you want to wait until at least after the third date, but longer is even better because the more comfortable you get, the better you'll be in bed. If you can't talk about everything surrounding sex, you're not ready. And then if it doesn't go well and you're not bonded and connected, that also can be a disaster. So there's so many good reasons to wait. And I will say this is an informal statistic. Nobody ever regrets waiting.
Then how do you know if he just wants sex?
This was another very popular, very, very frequently asked question. Okay. And it's so funny. If it seems like it, it's probably true. So I have a couple of really clear ways that and again, this is if you're looking for your long-term partner. I am not saying everybody should be looking for their long-term partner. If you just got out of a long relationship, if you just got divorced, play the field, have fun, be way more casual. I'm all for it, right? You still need to have certain conversations before you have sex with someone, but if you're looking for your long-term commitment, you will ask for monogamy before you have sex, and that will scare off somebody who just wants to have sex. So if they want to drink, if they want to meet quickly, if they don't care to get to know you, if they won't get on a video chat, if they don't want to try being monogamous, all of those are signs that the hoo-ha or the sex part is the more important part to them, which again, no problem and no shame in it. For someone, that would be great. But if you're looking for your long-term person, that is a deal breaker for you.
That actually brings us to the next question just quickly. How do you ask to be monogamous?
So In my Master the Art of Love course, which is my digital program, I have a variety of ebooks. One of the ebooks is literally called The Four Steps to Establishing Monogamy, because
Mm,
I've had this question so many times and there are
yeah.
steps to it. In the very beginning, in other words, in the first 3 dates, there's so much conversation that needs to happen in order to find out if the person's a good match.
Mhm.
Again, if you go back to my 3 date strategy conversation with you, go look the 3 date strategy. I don't want you dating more than 3 dates with someone you're not intending to have sex with, you're not intending to grow with. So you only have 3 dates. And in those 3 dates, you must determine by the end, by dessert on date three, do we want the same thing? Are we looking for long-term commitment or are we looking for casual? There is no value judgment. And I really encourage people, because sometimes women feel shallow if they just want casual, or men feel shallow if they just want casual, and then they lie about it, and it's a freaking disaster.
Right.
Okay? Or and this is what I hear all the time. I'm open to either. Oh great. Oh great.
That's when you
Why
know it's, but that's
why don't you
BS. Yeah.
just confuse everyone? Okay, if
Yeah.
you're open to either, stay casual for right now until
Yeah.
you know you're looking for your person. Then just because you're now going to have a fourth date because that person is hitting high marks for your head, your heart, and your hoo-ha does not mean you're propositioning them to be monogamous. However, this is the point at which you would say, I don't like having sex unless I'm monogamous, or I'm not comfortable having sex unless I'm in a long-term committed relationship, or unless I'm committed to
Mhm.
somebody. That's where I feel comfortable. So I'm not asking you right now to be monogamous with me. I'm just letting you know that that's important to me.
Mhm.
Okay? Which is not marry me. It's just for now we're not going to be doing
Right.
the other stuff. Then depending on their reaction, right? A lot of people I coach, the reaction of the other person is, "Oh, okay, let's do that. Let's take ourselves off the
I'm
sites.
good
Let's
with that. Yeah.
right. Okay. So then you need to go, okay, well, what does it, first of all, you have to ask yourself, do I want that? And if you both agree that you want that, now what are we doing? Are we closing off the sites? Are we just going hiding our, like, what are we literally agreeing to here? And what does monogamy mean? Does it mean no
Mhm.
flirting, no kissing? What does it mean about exes? Literally everyone has a different definition, folks. And I'm on the front lines every day, literally listening to, reading text threads back and forth, listening to
Mhm.
conversations between midlife women dating. And if you are not talking about it explicitly,
Mhm.
you do not know what's going on. And you should absolutely assume they are seeing other people and having sex with other people. Even if you do talk about it explicitly, you should still keep your spidey senses very tuned.
Well, and that leads to the next point that, or the next most popular question. What is safe sex these days?
Mm.
Everybody talks about safe sex, but what does that really mean?
STDs are still very prevalent amongst our age group, midlife
Yes.
and above. In fact, I believe they're on the rise. And part of why they're on the rise is because condoms are annoying.
Hmm.
Okay. And people don't want to disclose, or they don't know they have it. So if you are
Hmm.
listening and you have an STD, what I want to say is, if you feel shame about that, you are not
Hmm.
alone. Shame is rampant about
Right.
STDs. If you are someone who does not have an STD, shame is rampant about STDs. You need to know that. And STDs are also rampant. So if you want to protect yourself from that, you should always use a condom,
Hmm.
regardless of what someone tells you about their
Hmm.
STD status. But what I love to encourage my clients to do, not just because it's smart for your health, but also because it is good for your relationship with this new person, is go to the clinic together or show each other dated forms. I will say, if someone is smitten with you, committed to you, likes you, is attracted to you, wants to have sex with you for the rest of their life,
Hmm.
they will go to the clinic with you, or they will show you a dated piece of paper with their results. If they don't, you should wonder why not. Now, is it popular for people to show dated STD results? Is it popular for people to tell the truth? Is it popular for people to use condoms when they are not afraid of getting pregnant? No. But should you do that? Yes.
Well, and I agree with everything you said. I my I could get back to reality a little bit of what, yes, this is what you should do. This is what we absolutely encourage you to do. Will we do it?
I know it's a tough
Yeah.
sell. I know
Yeah.
it's a tough climb, but
Yeah.
but
I
I
think
I
for our
believe in
gen,
humanity.
yeah. for our generation especially, we didn't use condoms. We
Right.
did not use, I mean, maybe some
And-
people did. This is kind of also, post AIDS.
right.
And to start that now, especially with erectile dysfunction, it's a difficult topic. And then talk about a lot of stress. The other really, 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 really stressful thing that we think about is, what will they think of me naked?
I know. It's so sad how self-conscious we all are, right? You actually shared with me an article that suggested that according to one study, 68% of men worry about their penis size,
Yes.
which doesn't surprise me, but that is the majority of men. And we know that almost 100% of women probably worry about some aspect of their body. We are ruthless on ourselves, and the media does not help. So it is a miracle if two people ever actually can focus on the sex or the intimacy that's happening in the bedroom versus how do I look, the lighting, what's this angle,
Mm-hmm.
what will he or she think? It is a miracle when it works.
It is, but again, it's reality. We get very, very not uptight, but anxious about that. We've also done, body image videos and that sort of thing. And I don't know that there's any good answer other than to say everybody thinks this.
Well, I think that that's the start for the mindset is okay, you're
Mm-hmm.
up against a demon that everyone's up against, and maybe it makes you feel a little better to know he's probably worried too. Don't rush into it. If you can't
Mm-hmm.
talk about being upset about your cellulite, or I have this birthmark, or actually it's a fake leg, or my penis isn't that big, or sometimes I have, erectile dysfunction, or, my boobs are not the same size, or if you can't just say facts
Mm-hmm.
about your body and your health, you're probably not ready to have sex yet. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if it takes drinking to do it, that's also a red flag. I know I'm such a bummer, aren't I? I want you to get high on self-love. How about that? How annoying.
One thing that John Gray has said numerous times when I've talked with him is that, women just stop worrying about it because the guy you're with, he's just glad you have to have a naked woman next to him.
The
So we
feeling of
always,
a vagina around a penis. I mean, it's so true. I mean, it
it's a,
is so true. 98% of the time, if he's getting naked with you, he
yeah.
has no criticisms.
Now, here's one thing we can do something about easily, and I've always laughed about this, and it's a huge question. And again, in our demographic, pubic hair. Whatever happened to the hair down there?
It went away. It went away while we were raising children. It did, all of it.
I just laugh at how many times that comes up, and it did for me when after 25-year marriage. So, what's the best answer there, Laurie?
It's so funny. I mean, according to the article you shared with me, the recommendation was just, trim,
Yeah.
just trim both ways, both width and height, width and height, like middle of the road kind of an option. But I really think the truth is you should have your pubic hair the way you feel sexiest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you feel sexy and you feel confident, it will not be a problem to your mate. However, I challenge you before you have sex, talk about what positions you like, what frequency you like, what kinks you have, what lube you like, what pubic hair you like. Why not? Why can't we talk about if you're going to actually get naked and exchange fluids with a human? Why can't you talk about that stuff? So I would again say red flag if you can't talk about all that. And if you're someone who will change their pubic hair because the other person has a preference, cool.
Well, again, everything you said makes so much sense, but I know for myself that would be so difficult to do, to talk about it like that beforehand.
I know you're only a stage 4.
I know, yeah.
You won't talk
That
to
was our that
everybody
was
about
our
anything.
that was our last conversation. And I just want to acknowledge that because it's easy to read this, to give advice, to listen to us. We get it. I mean, it truly is. It's difficult,
Oh my God,
and
totally.
yeah, and that's why, but do, like as Lori said, really think about this. How do you feel about it, and then go on as such.
I know I'm asking for so much, and I really know I ask in all my lines of work and all my types of coaching, I'm asking people to go so far outside of their comfort zone. But I just want to say the reason is that I spend all day listening to the fallout of not doing that, right? I listen all day to the fallout of not finding your truth, of not telling your truth, of not loving yourself, of not having the hard conversations. And it's so much worse than
Mhm.
the little bit of angst you're going to have
Yeah.
mustering up how to say it.
It's just for some people, this is the first time they hear it. It's, oh, you got to be kidding me! I can never do this, and we don't want to stop it before you even get started. So
Yeah, put it in the put your problems in the comments, put your
yes,
fears in the comments, put your yeah, but Lori, but you know, or whatever happened to you, put it in the comments and I'll cheer you on or hopefully debunk your bad theory or your fear so that you can at least try.
well, and lastly, then, and this is of course a huge one. We have lots of videos on that, but sexual dysfunction at our age is just something you have to expect, and it's just it comes with aging. The erectile dysfunction for men and vaginal atrophy for women, and there's a lot of different ways to handle it. And yes, that's something you absolutely need to talk about.
I hope that as we age and as we enter midlife and beyond, we can become more mature, understand sex as more than just this, understand sensuality, sexuality, communion, intimacy as so wide and varied and
Mm-hmm.
so much fun and so much to learn, and stop being so attached to what we were trained is the right way.
We have a great conversation with Joan Price about that, about redefining what sex actually is. And I urge you to watch that. I'll link to that video as well. And the other thing, the last thing I'll say about the whole vaginal atrophy is if you have not had sex for a long time, you need to find
Who
out
knows?
where you actually are before
Right.
you go and have sex. Again, we have videos on that, but you don't want that, oh my God,
In the
I
moment.
yeah, in the
Right.
moment thing.
Exactly.
And it'll happen.
Yeah, it's like your piercings closing up. But I do want to I forgot to say this one thing about ED, which is it's not about you, ladies. Really remember that. I mean, maybe there's a small percentage of a chance that you're not meant to have sex, and so phew, great.
Mhm.
But usually it's a man, you know, it's either physical or he's in his head, which means you haven't talked enough. Sorry. You haven't
Mhm.
talked enough. You haven't built enough trust. It's always good news if sex can't happen. It's never bad news. That's my take
Interesting
on
way
it.
to look at it.
It
That's
means
an
you got to go
interesting one.
back.
Mhm.
You got to go back and
Mhm.
do your work.
And that's a hard thing for women to swallow. No pun there. Intended is that it's not their fault. It's that's difficult because of again
Right.
the way we were raised. Maybe for younger people it is,
And
and
then that makes the man now focus on taking care of your feelings when he actually should be taking care of his own feelings because he's having a lot of feelings too.
right.
So we then make it about us, and
Yep.
men don't love that. We can't
Right.
help it, but men don't love that. It's not about you. It actually
Right.
is not about you. And the best thing you can do for that moment and for that relationship is be patient, be loving, be kind, be supportive,
Yeah.
talk,
Mhm.
chat, get some
And there's
Viagra.
lots of medication they can easily get
Exactly.
for that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
There are so many solutions.
Lori, again, time with you is just flies by. Is there anything you want to add on this topic
I
that we
feel
didn't
that
bring
we
up?
have fully covered the frequently asked questions. And if there are more, people should put them in the comments and we'll do a whole nother segment.
Well, thank you again for your time. Again, I always appreciate it. We will link to all of your information. Lori has all kinds of wonderful resources, as we brought up in our discussion. So if you want to coach with Lori, check out the link. It's easy to get in touch with her directly. And Lori, thank you so much again. And we look forward to another conversation on Second Act TV.